Series 1 Lotus Elise from the year 2000. And it's mega. And if you want one, well, now is the time to buy one. Because the Elise is hot property at the moment, and it offers one of the very best driving experiences at any price. And this is why.
You probably already know the story of the Elise, the featherweight sports car from Norfolk that shook the car world when it landed in 1994. It was designed to be a more civilized, usable successor to the Caterham 7 and used a revolutionary extruded aluminium chassis that kept the weight down to just 731 kilograms. The Elise was tailor-made for narrow, undulating B roads. Put simply, it's a joyous little machine, a lesson in how simple ingredients can result in something very special. And this one is mine.
So I'll be honest, I've never been a massive fan of the Lotus Elise, never driven one. That is until about 5 months ago when a short driving one confirmed to me that this is one of the best driver's cars money can buy. The way it just tackles a B road with so much finesse and communication, well, it had me hooked. So I had to have one. After a long search over a few months, I ended up with this car. Now this is a 111S Series 1 Elise, and it's got a few modifications which we'll talk about later. And believe it or not, the previous owner was an 88-year-old stunt pilot, and he's kept this car in such good condition. He's used it, he's been to Scotland, he's done all sorts, racked up 54,000 miles. But that's a good sign to me. He's maintained it well, and it's just awesome. I love this car.
So the Elise was how the old stunt pilot got his adrenaline kicks, and he drove it until he couldn't anymore. What a legend. He chose the 111S version of the Elise when he bought it 22 years ago, and I'm very glad he did.
So the 111S gets more seat padding, different wheels, but most importantly of all, an uprated version of the Rover K series with variable valve timing. And that means it revs all the way to 7.2. And you also get a close ratio gearbox to really make use of that engine. The car just feels alive, it feels so sprightly, so energetic. And the results of those ingredients are phenomenal. If you're the kind of driver that likes tactility, communication, but doesn't want to go scarily fast all the time, then the Elise ruins modern cars. It really does. It's so refreshing, it's back to basics, pure driving. So let's break it down. The first thing you notice immediately is a lack of mass. This car weighs less than a modern Formula One car. And that means there's so little inertia to all the controls. So this is only a Rover K series engine. It's not the most exotic power plant in the world, but it responds so well because it's got so little weight to move. And then surprisingly is the way this car flows down a road. Now looking at it, a lightweight stripped back sports car, you'd think it will be really firm and uncompromising, but the genius of the Elise is that it's made to work on a British B road with all the bumps and lumps and cambers that brings. And it really does work. This car's on upgraded Series 2 Elise Bilstein suspension. You've got the great sense of connection that you want from a sports car, but it's supple. It doesn't crash around, it doesn't get deflected by bumps, it just flows beautifully.
And then there's the steering, which might just be the best part of driving an Elise.
Of course, the Elise has unassisted steering, and it communicates beautifully at all times. At first it's actually super light, almost disconcertingly so. But if you focus, if you just relax your grip on the wheel, you can feel it just shuffling around in your hands with the different surfaces that you're traveling over. And then when you get to the outer reaches of the grip, well, you can feel the front tires ebbing away at the tarmac, and it's crystal clear through the steering wheel. It's addictive.
So far, so good then. But if you're buying a 25-year-old hand-built British sports car, there are going to be a few things you need to watch out for.
So let's cut to the chase. The biggest problem with the Series 1 Elise is head gasket failure, and that's because this car has a Rover K-Series engine. And these engines are notorious for head gasket failure. And what you need to do is you need to make sure that the oil is up to temperature before pushing the car. But unfortunately, lots of people don't do that. And if you've got head gasket failure, well, the bill is £750.
Check the coolant bottle for a mayonnaise-like substance, a sign that oil and water are mixing because the head gasket has failed. The Elise has always looked a bit homemade to my eye, but Julian Thompson, the designer, owns a Ferrari 246 Dino, and from some angles you can tell. That body is made from lightweight fiberglass, and the front and rear clamshells are huge one-piece items. They're very tricky to repair as well, and replacements cost around 1,500 quid a pop.
So the cabin of the Elise, this is such a focused, Spartan place to do your driving. So the designer Julian Thompson actually wanted the car to feel like a Group C racer from behind the wheel. And you've got this lovely curved windscreen, the peaks of the wheel arches in your view, this low slung driving position, and I have to say it really does feel like a mini racer in here. And there are a few tweaks that you can make to make it even better. So as standard, the driving position is great. You've got these lovely extruded aluminium pedals, perfectly placed for heel and toe. But I've made a small modification by adding a 40mm spacer to bring this lovely small Nardi wheel a bit closer to me. Just means that with the seat all the way back, it's just in a better position really. And elsewhere, well, the gear change on these early Series 1 Elises, they're not great to be honest. You've got the linkage that runs all the way to the back of the car, to the gearbox, and that means that it's just a little bit woolly and the bushes can wear out. But you can easily fix that with an upgraded linkage for about 40 quid or something. And now the change is really nice, really precise, and it's actually a pleasure to use now. So the Series 1 Elise had a bit of a reputation for being a bit spiky and a bit oversteery when you're on the limit. These early cars had a wider front tyre than the later models because these were the only tyres off the shelf that Lotus could fit to the Elise at the time. And overall you do feel more body movement, you do feel the car moving around more than you would in a modern car, but I really like that, you know. And I like the fact that the balance is on the nose and it's so positive at the front end. Man, I just love this car. And in an age where cars are going electric, they're getting faster and faster and grippier all the time, this is the car that I want to drive forever. The Elise is just magic.